Winning has a price. And leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged. And I earned that right because my teammates came after me. They didn't endure all the things that I endured.
Michael Jordan was down in pain. Michael Jordan will take it.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I duck when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off for the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit, my game slider boosted. Ain't I don't have to prove shit, Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit, nigga. I know on these news clips, that's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch, won't be around when they lose clips, won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
You know, I sat here and I was looking at the screen for a couple minutes. I didn't really know how I was going to start the show. A lot of things were going on in my head. It's been a rougher day than most days. And it's crazy because usually rough days for me is like, it's hard for me to really have a rough day in the sense that like, what can really go that wrong that I didn't expect, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, a bad day for me is getting news that something happened to like my mom, a loved one. You know, something like that. A bad day for me is not really, you know, something bad happened to me, I'm thinking to myself, oh, just another inconvenience. You know, my car breakdown, another inconvenience. But then, you know, lately, I want to say this last year and a half or so, some things has done happened in my life. Just done, you know, really stressed me out, put more gray hairs in my head. And I'm only 28, so it's pretty crazy. And, you know, I be thinking to myself, like, I'm not a fan of this dude named CM Punk. He a wrestler, if people don't know. I'm not really a big fan. But I over the last, he said something in the promo that I saw one time where he was like, you know, I don't know if I'm a good person. And every day I ask myself, you know, am I a good person? Do I stand for, you know, right? Am I trying to be a better person every day? He basically had a promo like that. And it played in my head a lot because it's like the older I get, it's like at some point in time in the last 2-3 years, I don't know what it is, I'm around so many like kids, and if you could see me walk into some of the this daycare that I walk into and just see all the kids like light up when they see me. I'm like the fun guy that they love when he come around because they know I'm gonna give a million different high fives and hugs and all that different type of stuff. I'm gonna be the fun one. You know, if they getting in trouble, they just gonna try to come to me because they know I'm gonna save them. And I always say to myself, you know, around when I realize how much that happened, like, damn, I want to be, you know, I want to be somebody that these kids, you know, can look up to. And then being around, like, I also worked in the daycare before, so I done been around like older kids, like school age kids. It's like in middle school and stuff, and I like it. Like when I come back and see them, like I saw this young lady who I used to work at a daycare. She used to go there, and she used to be like one of my favorite kids there, going field trips and all that. And so we went to the same church, and so I was close with her dad, and she was close with our family and whatnot. But either way, like, I saw the good influence I made on her, and I saw her this weekend after not seeing her for like 6 years probably. And I didn't even recognize her. She came up to me and saw me, and when I recognized who it was, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, it's just dope when you leave a good impression on people and they come up to you just unwarranted and wanting to, you know, say hey and like the biggest smile and hug, bro. I'm like, yo, I can't even believe this. Like, and so saying that, it's like I really did, like, I look at myself and I'm like, damn, bro, am I somebody like these kids can be happy to say, like, when they tell their parents and shit, like, yo, this dude Jay, I know Jay, I know Saint. Like, that's my favorite person when he come to the day. Like, I done had kids running, jumping in my arms when they parent drop them off right in front of their parent. And I know their parent just thinking to themselves, like, what the hell? Like, damn, they love him. They don't even do that to me. I done actually had a parent say that. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then I started to be around more like kids, as like I said, in middle school and whatnot. Like, one of my little homies, he in high school right now, and he around me a lot. And a lot of the younger dudes who done been around me, I'm always thinking to myself, like, am I setting an example, like, that these motherfuckers can be proud of? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I tried to tell one of my little brothers before, like, you think I'm cool and all that type of stuff, but it's because of what I stand on and what I represent, why you think I am what I am. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that I get that message out every day. And it's hard to really, sometimes I just be sitting and thinking to myself, like, I'm not the biggest influence. Like, I tell people all the time that's around my age when they like, oh, bro, you such a good dude, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, man, nah, bro. I'm just a dude who just try every day to be better than I was the day before. Like, dead ass. I don't care who watching me. I don't care. I try to be as respectful as I possibly can. And I think one of them parts of maturing is like, because you never quite sure if you are actually making a difference, if you are actually being a good person, because you have moments where you just have human moments where you slip up, where you get outside of your character, or you might say something or do something, or just something that's outside of what you think being a better or good person is. Leaving a good impact, leaving a situation better after you leave it than it was before you got into it. You know what I'm saying? And I understand we human, and I be thinking about that shit all the time. Like, I tell you all the time on this, like I've said multiple times, all I think about from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep is how to become successful and how to become financially stable to where I can take care of my family, so my mom can actually experience what it's like to enjoy life after working so many years. I mean, she can't even enjoy her retirement. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, and sometimes, situations ain't going how you want them to go. And you just sitting back and you thinking to yourself, like, man, this shit ain't never gonna change, man. Like, or I'm not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, man. It's a battle. It's a battle. And it's been one of them type days, man, where, things that you might have done that you thought you was doing in good conscience and you really thought you was doing to help come back to bite you eventually. And I know I ain't explained the situation, and I can't explain the situation fully, but, one thing lead to another, and then, the situation that could possibly come of this is something that could really, really, really fuck me up. I'm not going to prison or nothing like that, but when you didn't do anything wrong, and everything you've done is in good intention, and the world decide to see it, or not even the world, people decide to see things how they see things because of their experiences and what they feel like they know. And I don't know, man. It's been one of those days where you have to really, in order to go to sleep at night and really be at peace with oneself, you have to truly know that what you're doing is, with no ill intent. You know what I'm saying? Like, the things that you do in your everyday life, the people that you try to help, that you're doing it with, you legitimately coming from a place of wanting to help. Like, you have no ill will, no ill intent. Like, because in this world it can get so cloudy when you are trying to decide if you're a good person, because so many other people trying to decide that for you, and every little misstep, it's wild. It really is. But I'm done with that rambling. We are here tonight for a whole different situation. Hey, let's ride. So, first off, before I don't want to talk about that. I was finna talk about what I was seeing on the internet the last couple days. Christian Rock, Blueface's girlfriend. Boy, I saw somebody comment under like this woman is a world class athlete and all these different type of posts I'm seeing on Twitter. But I saw somebody tweet something under her under one of the posts, and they was like, bruh, this young lady should have never ran into this motherfucker Blueface. And I'm listening to all the different horror stories that people telling me. Well, they not telling me, but talking about in the tweets in the comment section. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw one dude say, yo, fathers, please be a part of your daughters' lives so they can know their worth and not have to end up with motherfuckers like this. And I felt that. I really felt that. Because I saw a picture of this young lady before she was with Blueface and after. Bro, she got a tattoo of that man on her neck. Bro, what? Like, for one, I'm not really a tattoo on the face type of individual. I'm not really a tattoo on the neck individual either, like on the front of the neck, the throat area, basically. But she got a picture, she got a tattoo of that man's face on her neck. I mean, on her throat. That's wild. I never be in love with nobody like that to do nothing like that. That's nuts. I saw that picture and I about lost my mind. Somebody showed me a picture of her, what she looked like when she ran track and what she looked like after Blueface. I'm inclined to agree with the comment section, yo. Dead ass. But first, to start off the show, I saw where Tracy McGrady was talking about Rudy Gobert. I saw that. And it's very interesting the things that Tracy McGrady said about how, you know, he ain't got a post move, he can't do nothing with guards on him and shit like that. I've been saying this about Rudy Gobert for a minute, and it's unbelievable to me that this man was still signed a generational wealth type of contract, bro. Knowing how limited and saying he limited on offense is an understatement. He don't even get to the basket and catch lobs like a Clint Capella, and he taller than Clint Capella. Rudy Gobert is like 7'2", 7'3" or some shit. Can't post up guards. My biggest problem with Rudy Gobert started when I kept noticing, the more and more I was watching him, I'm like, yo, why do this dude not dunk on guards? Like, I kept seeing him when he had a guard in front of him, he'd try to lay it up or something. Or he'd take some awkward ass type of, you know, layup move or something, and he'd miss. And even it got to the point where I'd be like, even when he making it, I'm like, bro, why are you trying to lay it up on guards? I'm like, bro, you are 7'3". I go to any park, and if somebody as short as these dudes guarding a 7'3" dude, and he at the rim, he dunking on them every single time. Like, what are you? You're an NBA player, my G. You supposed to have more coordination than a dude that's at the park. So I could never understand how Rudy Gobert couldn't just go up and, like, bruh, do you think Shaq? Now, I understand Shaq is bigger than Rudy Gobert as far as frame, but Shaq not taller than Rudy Gobert, and Shaq wasn't laying the ball up. Now, I know somebody gonna be like, oh, well, Shaq did lay the ball. I understand Shaq done had layups on smaller dudes before. But Shaq is known for yamming it on dudes, bro. Rudy Gobert's too tall, too big to be having layups on and not even being able to finish on small dudes. Like, that's supposed to be barbecue chicken, yo. It's never that. It's never that. And I really don't understand that about Rudy Gobert. That's why I be calling him soft. I'm like, man, this dude's soft in the post, man. And then he can't guard on the outside. People continue. I don't know how he keep winning Defensive Player of the Year off the fact that he is great at being a blindside defender. Because guards go. What Defensive Player of the Year do you know that people went straight at? Like, they had no fear. Like, what center is big as Rudy? Like, bro, when Dwight Howard was winning Defensive Player of the Year, you did not see dudes just going at Dwight Howard just freely like that shit was cool. Like, no. You didn't see people doing that to no Ben Wallace, no Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green. Like, dudes is not intentionally trying to go at these dudes. Rudy Gobert far too many times is the main. Like, people want to isolate Rudy Gobert, bro, and put him on an island. Dudes is not trying to put them other dudes on islands that I just named. So it's always been crazy to me that Rudy Gobert was allowed to rob people. Was allowed to rob the defensive player of the year that many times, bro. And I'm not trying to take nothing away from Rudy Gobert. But I think Rudy Gobert is the same player he done been his entire career. And that's just absolutely astounding that he was able to flip this into this type of contract. I respect this generational wealth that he done was able to hustle out of these teams. But my guy, the fact that Rudy Gobert has been the exact same player from the time he done stepped into the league to now, it's ridiculous. Like, people be hating on actually great players who actually done things that evolve on a year-to-year basis, come in better and more improved. I be seeing people defend Rudy Gobert just because he got them 3 defensive player of the years. And I'm like, bro, if you actually watch games, and I see people in the comment section say the same thing. If you watch the games, you know that Rudy Gobert is the best blindside defender more than anything else. Because nobody's scared. Anthony Edwards told you how he felt about Rudy Gobert before Rudy got to the Timberwolves. A lot of people tell you how they feel. Like, come on, man. I agree with Tracy McGrady wholeheartedly. And the fact that this man was able to, like I said, hustle that contract is just astounding, and hats off to him. Because, wow. I would prefer to have a Clint Capella over Rudy Gobert. John Collins. It's wild. And I probably never be able to get over those defensive player of the years that he stole. Like Steve Nash stealing that MVP from Kobe and Shaq. It's crazy because you look at I look at a defender like Draymond Green. Can defend all 5 positions. Kawhi Leonard can defend all 5 positions. Now, Kawhi is not going to be guarding a center the majority of the time. But if you got a center that's going off, they will put Kawhi on him. LeBron James in his prime could guard all 5 positions. Kobe Bryant in his prime. Now, Kobe couldn't guard all 5 positions. I'm pretty sure he could have done it in this day and age. But back then, he was playing against actual big-ass centers that's like 7 foot. He was playing against 7-footers. You ain't plugging no 6'7" dude on no 7-footer back in the day. But just look at all the different type of defenders who could guard all 5 positions or guard as many positions as possible to make them elite defenders. Tony Allen. And look at Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert cannot guard any position except if you take him to the blind side and he can come in with a blind side block. He's not D'ing up nobody. I see point guards destroy him, 2 guards destroy him, 4s destroy him. Like, what are we doing? And I'm not hating on Rudy Gobert. I promise you I'm not hating on Rudy Gobert. I'm just confused as to why the Timberwolves thought that this was the move. Why the Utah Jazz, the ones who paid him in the first place. Like, it's just very confusing, and I agree with what Tracy McGrady was saying on the subject matter, basically. Next, I want to hop into Mac Jones. So I was seeing the reports about Mac Jones basically struggling in training camp or the offense being bad. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. Mac Jones, I really do feel bad for Mac. Because people was talking about how he was in the best situation and all that type of shit. I actually don't think he is in a great situation no more. Like, I don't think Mac is in a... For one, Brady being away from the Patriots really started to let us see what Belichick was without him. And I'm not taking away none of Belichick's success with Brady. Every single successful quarterback every successful head coach had a good quarterback or a great quarterback. It just is what it is. So I'm not trying to take away from Belichick as if every other great head coach didn't have great quarterbacks or great running backs at the time when that was a thing, or great legendary defense. I'm not taking nothing away from Bill. I still think Bill is the greatest head coach of all time as far as like football. However, to see what Bill is without Tom Brady, just like you see what all other type coaches are without their top players or their top quarterback, I think it's real, it's kind of eye-opening. I don't think Bill is ahead of the curve as he once was when he had Brady. And I don't think that they call a good offensive game plan. I didn't think the offensive game plan play calling was good last year under McDaniels. I don't think it's going to be good this year. I don't know. I don't think I done spoke on this. The head coach that they brought back, that used to be with the Detroit Lions. He back with the Patriots because Bill Belichick will hire his bad coaches that fail as a head coach. He'll hire him back in a heartbeat to be with the Patriots. But that dude, I cannot remember his name. Matt Patricia. I don't understand how Matt Patricia could be that disrespectful with grown men while he was with the Lions, based off of the reports and things that's done come out. I don't know how you could be that disrespectful to men and to human beings, and basically just be disrespectful as a human being altogether, and easily get another job in the league. Like, the shit's wild to me. But nonetheless, Matt Patricia didn't have a good offensive game plan in Detroit. He didn't have, the Patriots to me never have had great, really offensive game plans. They've had Tom Brady. And so I think Mac Jones is not in as great a situation as he could possibly be in. There's other quarterbacks who's going to have way far better offensive minds than Bill Belichick. See, I think what some people think when you say he's going to be in a better situation or he's in a better situation is because we're thinking about the team success. But Mac Jones' growth as an individual, as a quarterback, I think could be stunted by playing with the Patriots, because I don't think the Patriots know what the fuck they doing with Mac Jones. For one, I said it last year, and I done said it a lot this year. Mac Jones is in a disadvantageous situation because he's coming after Tom Brady. They're calling the game plan as if he Tom Brady, and not only that, and when I say calling it as if he Tom Brady, not even necessarily calling it like he Tom Brady, but a lot of his throws that they setting up for him is like dink and dunks. You know what I'm saying? What Brady had to do that last couple years there when he had no weapons. And he had Julian Edelman. Mac don't have that. So they don't go out and get this man no legit weapons like all the other young quarterbacks seemingly get. They haven't went out and got Mac Jones a legitimate weapon to help him improve. They don't call a game plan that would help him improve because in order to improve, you're going to have to make mistakes. If you continue to call up a game plan where Mac Jones never have to throw the ball down the field and then you get down 20-something points late in the game and now you got to force him to throw it, like, bro, that's never going to help this man. If this dude was able to have either a play caller who knew what the fuck they was doing, who actually could help because I don't think the Patriots have a good offensive-minded person over there that's going to help Mac Jones. And you look at, I don't know if the LA Chargers have an offensive-minded guru over there, but I know they got fucking weapons over there. And that's half the battle. You might not need to have the offensive mind, but you got the fucking weapons. Mac Jones don't have the offensive mind. He don't have the offensive weapons. We look at Bill Belichick and we say, oh, he got the best head coach. Yeah, but that's because the team. The team. He won with Brady, and the team is why you think that. Bro, nobody is saying that he is the greatest quarterback guru all time. So I kind of think Mac Jones really not in his greatest situation. Like, he don't have a Jamar Chase over there with him. I don't think Greg Roman is a good offensive play caller outside of running. I don't think he's never evolved past being a great run calling offensive coordinator. But he can't even say he got a great run offensive minded coordinator, even though that's what they did best was run the ball. But I think that's what they did best because that's what they forced him to do was turn around and hand the fucking ball off. So we never really got to see Mac Jones and his true potential, which is why I do think some people is real negative on Mac Jones right now. But Mac Jones struggling in training camp don't surprise me because the man, look at what they did to him last year. Look at how they massacred my boy. They really didn't try to get this dude to become a better passer, at least from what I was seeing. They just kept having him polish those handoff skills. Like, that game against Buffalo to me is still one of the most disrespectful games I've ever seen as far as a head coach disrespecting his player. Because why in the fuck would you ever force your quarterback to turn around and hand the ball off that many times? Winning a game will never be that important to where I want to massacre the relationship with my quarterback like that. That's why John Harbaugh chose not to take Lamar Jackson out of that Chargers playoff game a couple years back when the fans was chanting for Joe Flacco. Because he understood in the grand scheme of things, this one win, if we get this when Flacco come in here, will not mend the relationship and the lost trust between me and Lamar Jackson, my future franchise quarterback. Bill Belichick don't seem to give a fuck. And I guess some people could say, yeah, rightfully so, the man got this many Super Bowls, but he didn't get those Super Bowls by himself. He got them with Tom Brady. This ain't Tom Brady. And this ain't a lot of the different players that was on that team back in the day. So if he is going to be in a situation where he refuses to adapt, where he think he can just keep being this exact same Bill that he done been the last couple years, I just don't see this succeeding, and I think it's going to be all bad for Mac Jones. I really do. And the worst part is, I think Mac Jones could get like a couple years in starting before they actually were to move on to somebody else, just based off of how they would call game plans. They just have him turn around handing the ball off all the time, so you would never truly know Mac Jones if he good or not, or see his talent. It'll just always be people calling him a game manager. But I really think he is forced to be a game manager right now. Mac Jones, if he was with a team that actually had, like Mac Jones, I don't know why, well, they took Trey Lance, but Mac Jones would have been great with the 49ers. I don't know what made them end up not wanting Mac Jones. Mac Jones would have been a fine quarterback with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. If Mac Jones could show this type of level of play without a guy who cared too much, because to me it seemed like the Patriots cared about winning games, not Mac Jones being good or developing. Like, his development will come when it come, but we trying to win games. And I just think, bro, you got a young quarterback. You can let this man throw the ball around the field and not worry about, oh, they're going to judge Bill Belichick for losing. Like, it feel like at times the egos for those big boys up there in New England superseded the development of Mac Jones. And you look at what they did in the offseason. What did they do in the offseason to help Mac Jones? I just don't know if this is a great situation for Mac Jones, to be completely honest with you. I think... What do I think? I think personally, I want to see Mac Jones get traded. If not that, I would hope that eventually Bill would bring in a legitimate offensive-minded coordinator and let them do their job in developing Mac Jones. Like, I understand you want to have a good running game, but you got a lot of quarterbacks in the AFC right now that can sling that thing around the field and be difference makers in their team's success. Mac Jones, I don't think, is being given the opportunity to be a difference maker. They done put the man on a leash and basically said, yo, you eat when we tell you to eat. And you eat no more than what we give you and what we tell you can eat. Like, they not letting this man become a big dog. And I think that's a problem. I don't know if it's scared that, the turnovers. Like, I don't know what it is. But I just don't think the Patriots situation... Like, obviously, everybody can't land in the Justin Herbert situation or the not Jamar Chase, or the Joey Burrow. I saw the little interview where Jamar Chase and them boys, T. Higgins, and you got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. They was all doing an interview on the Pivot the other day. I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm going to eventually go back and watch it. But, yo, them boys talking real shiesty, ain't they? Hey, when you up one, you can do that. I don't have no problem with them talking shit. Like, it's so weird, because some fans will see them talking shit or basically saying what they feel is like facts or whatever, and they'll get hella offended and start saying like off the wall shit. Which brings me into another thing. Bruh. I saw Joey Gallo's interview after, if you don't know, Joey Gallo used to play for the Yankees. He got traded to the Dodgers. He's been great with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers haven't lost since getting him, as of me recording this. And he said after his interview, he haven't heard what it felt like to be cheered by fans in such a long time, so, he real grateful for it. And I always think when I hear athletes say anything around that type of, messaging, it's just so sad, because it's like people forget that these people are human beings. At the end of the day, that's doing their job on national TV most times, or in a bigger spotlight, so you can see them fail more often. Like, I didn't even came to the conclusion a dude having a bad game. Well, to me, a dude having a bad game never meant that he was a bad player. But it's like Westbrook having a bad season or off season in some people's minds. Bro, that don't make that man a bad player all of a sudden. Like, how can you wash away all those years of greatness and now just because he this old and he played that like this and then not up to my standards, he a bad player now? And then the booing and shit like that, because I think that's the bigger message too. Like, bro, the Yankee fans treated this man so bad because he was struggling at the plate. And I said when Joey Gallo got traded, I said he's going to be way better in LA than he is in New York, because Dodger fans do not boo their own players, at least not from my experience as a Dodger fan and looking at Dodger fans. Like, Cody Bellinger I have not seen at any point in time the fan base turn on Cody Bellinger and just start booing Belly, and just taunting him, saying wild, outlandish things to him. Like, Dodger fans have rode with Belly every single step of the way of his struggle, and now he done turned it around. More often than not, I kept hearing Dodger fans say, I refuse to give up on a 20-something-year-old MVP, Rookie of the Year, yada, 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 because he's struggling at the plate right now when he still is a great defender and all these other things. And I'm like, when you put a player in that type of situation and they can just relax and be a player again, because it's like they understand the human element of this thing. Like, yeah, I understand to y'all we machines and whatnot. We go out there, we play baseball, and you only see us in one or two lights. We good or bad based off of what we do. But at the end of the day, we want to be better. Like, we want us to be better than y'all want us to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we wake up every day wanting to be far greater than you could ever imagine, and far greater than we could ever want them to be. So I know it just feels different when you can just play ball and you understand that fans understand the human side of it all. Like, they're going to struggle sometimes. They're not going to win all the big ones. They're not going to have the clutch hits at times. They're going to look bad sometimes. But we still going to root for you, because what good does it do for us booing for our own guys? And two, like, people struggle sometimes. It just is what it is. That don't give us the right to boo them and belittle them. Now, if Joey Gallo had a cocky attitude, was out there, taunting, talking shit and all this different type of stuff, I get it. I get when fans go at people like that. I get it. You hate people who got these just disgusting ass, arrogant type attitudes and shit like that. Like, you should be cheering me and stuff like that. I get that. That's a completely different topic. I understand when fans feel a type of way about those type of individuals. But Joey Gallo has never been that type of individual. And I had to listen to a dude who basically was semi-pouring his heart out when he said, I haven't heard fans cheer for me in so long. It's a human being at the end of the day who just wanted to do good by the fans, and the fans never gave him any type of love in return. Whoever mistake he made, they maximized it, rather than telling him, it's cool, bro. You straight. I could never do what you doing. Keep balling. That's how my approach is with every single fucking athlete, except for Baker Mayfield. Alec Bohm, when he was struggling, you good. You got to this point for a reason. You're this young as a starter for a reason. You're going to figure this shit out. You Alec Bohm. Like Kevin Durant said, I'm Kevin Durant. So, I just wish fans would just, with air quotes around fans, I just wish they would learn to be more human, bro. Like, it's sad to see an athlete go up there, because at the end of the day, like I said, they're humans trying to be good for you. They put so much pressure on themselves to perform for you. And when you just blatantly refuse to acknowledge the type of work that they put in, and yeah, I might have came up short, but this motherfucker did everything he could to not come up short for us. And when you return that with a boo, fuck you, you suck, trade him, we don't want him here, that's tough. That's tough. And I done said it before, you don't have somebody micromanaging your job where every time you fuck up or something, people there and booing you and telling you a bitch and all these different type of things. So why do we do it to athletes? It's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. That's just my PSA on that. But since we're talking about baseball, I want to hop to the Field of Dreams game. The Field of Dreams game is tonight. And so, as of the last time I was watching it, the Reds were still losing 4-0 for a minute now. 3 of those runs came in the first inning, where it was a 2-out rally where they just popped off 3 runs with a couple just singles turning into doubles. Really, just good base running, really. But the beginning of the Field of Dreams, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not finna just be calling this bitch the Field of Dreams. I'm finna call this bitch the cornfield, my. But so they was in the cornfield tonight, and I liked this game last year. So if you didn't watch the Field of Dreams game last year, it was a great game. I think the thing that hurt this Field of Dreams. Okay, so one of the things with the MLB is the reason a game like this don't feel bigger is because the MLB for some reason don't know how to market their sport at the moment. It was easier for them to market their sport back in the day when football wasn't what it is now, American football, what basketball wasn't what it is now, and so many eyes are on so many other things in today's society, bro. So it's so hard to market a sport the way you did back in the day. And baseball's refusal, it feel like at times, to evolve with the times is one of the reasons I think baseball is being stuck. And I hate that because I love baseball. Like, I love baseball, especially when baseball is baseballing, bro. I love it. My Phillies are playing great baseball right now, and I love it. The Dodgers are balling out. Mookie Betts balling out, bro. Oh, my goodness. Everything is just right. Zach Wheeler is balling out. Beat Sandy Alcantara the other night. Or Alcantara. I apologize if I pronounced his name wrong. But I just think baseball have a problem marketing their game. Last year's Field of Dreams was marketed far better than this one. But I think it was easier to market it last year's game because you had Tim Anderson, Liam Hendricks. You had so many different good starting pitchers. Giolito. What's my man's name? I'm not going to remember his name right now. But you got Yasmani Grandal. You got Luis Robert. You got Eloy Jimenez. Like I said, biggest of all, you got Tim Anderson. On the other team, you got the fucking Yankees. The Yankees market themselves. Okay? You say Yankees, the fans gonna show up. And I think the fact is baseball rely too heavily on teams' greatness or their glory being able to keep them, big. But every team ain't the Yankees, like every team ain't the Cowboys. Every team ain't the fucking Celtics and the Lakers. The Celtics mystique has really got you believing that this been one of the better NBA teams over the last couple decades as far as like winning championships. When in actuality, these motherfuckers have only won one championship in like the last 20 years. But because it's the Celtics, those type of teams, the Lakers, the Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Penguins. You didn't think you was going to hear a hockey reference on this motherfucker tonight. Those are things that sell themselves. The Yankees sell themselves. But it helps when you got Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole. You got so many different big namers on, and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo being the biggest of big names. But you got so many different, you got the generational wonder that is Brett Gardner last year, I think, played in that game. For one, I don't know why the Yankees would not be in that game again this year. They won the game last year. They should have automatically been put in the game again this year. And I understand the Yankees are struggling right now. I think they done lost like 6 of their last 7 games. But that's the fucking Yankees. They having the best season in baseball right now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so last year was easier to sell that game and to market that game because, like you said, you had the Yankees, a team that's got like one of the biggest fan bases in all of sports. And you had a team that had marketable stars. But if the game could market their stars better, even a game like this, okay, so I understand there's some guys in this game that a lot of people might not know, like Marcus Stroman wasn't even the pitcher that started off the game. To me, that's like the most well-known. I know you got Kyle Hendricks and you got a couple other guys, Seiya Suzuki, Ian Happ, Wilson Contreras play for the Cubs. But these are not names that a lot of people would know outside of those fan bases. And the reason Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ were all-stars. People should know who they are. But because the game ain't really marketing players the way they should, and I understand, players got to have a part in this too. This is a perfect game where, like I was talking about in the MLB All-Star game, dudes should be mic'd up. One of my favorite players in baseball history is Joey Votto, and I'm so happy that they mic'd him up because Joey Votto talked for like the entire third inning, and I'm so disappointed that his next at bat they walked him instead of the baseball guys giving him a home run. And maybe by the time of me doing this right now, after I'm done with this, it'll have been some crazy ass ending in the game like it was last year. But it's so much harder to market this game because it's not a lot of guys in this game that people know, like Jonathan Indica, Kyle Farmer, Joey Votto. For some people who might not know who Joey Votto is like, even though he done been in the game for a long time. So it's harder to market this type of game and sell this game with these two teams who haven't had the best seasons, who don't have the biggest name players on their teams. This is where, like, if you had a fucking Angels coming into here with a Mike Trout, who I don't even think is as well known as a Shohei Ohtani at this point. Like, I think Shohei Ohtani is the bigger of the two, and I don't even think it's close, to be honest with you. But it's easier to market that type of game. So I think baseball got to learn how to be better at marketing players and games. But I think it'll be easier to market game, like, because they keep trying to figure out all these different type of things to make the game go faster, to speed it up, so we can put more. No, I don't think none of that's gonna work. People, even though people don't like to admit it at times, because you got the trolls on Twitter who, for some reason, continue to be heard more than the people who actually care about these things. Like, companies would prefer to listen to people who could give two shits about the company, who are just trolls to troll, rather than actually listening to the people who care. If baseball would market these players, and I don't want to hear, oh, we tried, bro. You could do so much better at marketing these dudes. You got so many different type of TV rights. You got so many, and one of the other problems is just marketing the players in their own city, in their own state. It's not good enough. Atlanta should not be the only people who know, or the only fan base that knows who Ronald Acuna Jr. is. It shouldn't be a whole Kansas City Royals fan base and only half of them truly know who Ronald Acuna Jr. is. Everybody should know how great that man is. I get tired of seeing everybody call Bryce Harper overrated, because that just tells me that they just don't watch Bryce Harper, and that's just an annoying thing that has happened. But if other fan bases actually could have access to watching these different great players, it would grow the sport. One of the reasons the NBA keep growing ain't because players and fans love teams no more. That's what they keep making you think. Oh, they gotta have an even. No, fans love these players. These players are more like people can get. They can hang on. These players give fans something to hang on to, whether it be the interactions off the court, the interactions on the court, the different type of things that go on with the NBA that they help the fans get more in touch with the players so they can know. And obviously the player is going to always have an advantage in the NBA because you don't wear helmets and stuff, so your face is always boom right there. But in baseball, it's damn near the same thing. I understand you wear a helmet for batting, and some of them you wear hats in the outfield, but you can still see these dudes' faces a lot of times. I just think it's got to be funner ways to market these players, to show their personalities. People connect with people who they feel like is like them, who bring out a fun side of them to remind them shit gonna be alright. That's what the MLB got to figure out. Mookie Betts shouldn't just be big in Boston because he played there, in LA because he played there now. Mookie Betts should be big everywhere. That's one of your best players, one of your funnest players. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Bryson Stott and Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, Marcus Stroman, Ian Happ. All these different type of young stud players should be broadcast everywhere. Only the market that they play in shouldn't be the only ones who know them. And then you have to find fun ways to get, involved on Twitter. Like, what's the big platform? Okay, let's find ways to try to let's put out some fire ass clips. Let's edit some dope ass clips to get fans watching. It's so many different ways that you can help grow the game that would have made a game like tonight feel so much bigger. If you knew you was bringing Ken Griffey Jr. and his pops out and Ken Griffey Sr. out, you could have done a marketing thing that led up to that. MLB to me is not in the spot where you could just surprise motherfuckers with something like that. Like, you're not J. Cole. You don't got that type of fan base right now. And I understand that you got a lot of fans, but they not as enthused. Like, I was looking at these this show talking about how the fan base don't show up in Philadelphia, like they 15th in attendance. And one dude was like, I don't think that's indicative of fans caring. And I agree. I don't think fans showing up is indicative of them caring. It's just them saying, I could be more comfortable at my house watching the game and with the entertainment that'll go on here than if I actually go to a game, because the experience might not be what I want it to be. The beer might be too expensive. And I think people get over the price of certain things if they know the experience is going to be worthwhile. And that's got to do with the different things you got going on at the stadium, the base. And you got to understand, baseball is a long game at times. And a lot of action. And in a lot of different games, there's no action for long periods of time. You got to find ways to spice that up at these stadiums, whether it be giveaways, multiple giveaways, free food, contests, different type of things that spice up and liven up the thing to make it better for TV, for one. Because the crowd really brings nothing to a baseball game on TV if it's not a home run or something like that. And these are all reactionary things. Like, the fans really can't play that much of a difference in a game unless you, like, in the bottom of the ninth, a player scores on base, like runners on, the corners, maybe one out. Then they can jump in and play a part and become a part of the game. But most of the time in baseball, fans are reactionary. So they really are not as big a part of the game as, say, a basketball, football game where you can actually react, in real time, because the action is going on all the time. Like, I think baseball got to figure out ways to do just far more. Like, I think the All-Star Weekend should become an All-Star Weekend or an All-Star 3-day week event, something like that. For one, I think it should be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's no reason why you should be doing Monday, Tuesday. Like, that's weird. You should be going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or at the hell, I'd even take Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I would not be mad at that, even though I think Sunday feel more like a primetime night for an all-star event. But you gotta find ways to spice it up. This is another type of event that you just randomly have. And I seen people talk about, like, oh, you could do a Sandlot event and all these other type of baseball movies. This is such a huge event, and you don't even realize it. Like, the Field of Dreams could be a huge event if you allow yourself to imagine it as so. Just walking through the cornfield and shit like that got dry after last year to a lot of people. That's just the word on the Twitter streets. It was other ways that you can. It's like I said, if you knew you was bringing Kent the Griffies out, why not figure out ways to hype that up? Why not have like a screen in the middle of the field playing their highlights? Why not have some type of dope ass contest before the game with like little leaguers on team senior and little leaguers on team junior? Like, why not have different type of events to hype up this? I understand you still a regular game in the season, but this ain't just a regular game anymore if you allow it to be more than that, which you have the power to do in the MLB. I understand we all want to stick to business. The bottom line is the bottom line. But this shit is sports. This is about having fun. That was the essence of it all. I understand when championships came into it and motherfuckers became win at all costs, that it became a little conflicted. But at the end of the day, we still watch these things because it's fun to watch them. Especially when you get people who watch. You do realize the Super Bowl is watched by more fans of other teams than fans of that team. A lot of these events are watched by fans of multiple teams because we enjoy. That's some of the best times where you can be a fan, is when you're not watching your own team compete. I see fans talk about it all the time, like, yo, I prefer watching this team play because I hate watching my own team play because of how it made me feel. Or I watch all these other teams play and these players play because of yada, yada, yada. And so baseball have to figure out a way to get people involved, to get more things involved, to make this shit fun, to make people want to watch it. And there's so many different ways they can do it. Like, it's so many different ways. When the playoffs come around, you got the promos on TV ain't enough. Like, you should have people on ESPN paid to talk about this stuff. Shell out that money. Have people who have national spots, not where you got to go find it on the internet archives, who will have fun spots talking about the MLB playoffs like they do the NFL playoffs, like they do the NBA playoffs. The only reason people don't care is because you don't care. Rob Manfred can't be talking about the fucking championship, the MLB World Series trophy, as a piece of metal. That's ridiculous. You should never have. Could you imagine if Roger Goodell went up and said, the Super Bowl's not that important, it's just a piece of metal? What? His ass would be out the next day. Like, come on, man. MLB seemed to be the only sport that don't care about shitting on its own sport and the integrity of its own sport. Like, I get on some of these other sports because they care too much about the integrity of their sport. The MLB just don't give a damn, it feel like, unless it's some old head pitcher who want to throw at people because he got mad at this dude for taunting or cheering after he did something good. That seemed to be the only time MLB care. But MLB can't only be big when somebody get hit by a pitch, when somebody get hurt, when somebody break a record. Those should be big moments, specifically the record breaking. But MLB have to start learning how to make these things feel big. They can't just rely on the stadium or the network that the thing is on. And I think that's probably one of the biggest problems with the MLB. But it's so many different ways where you can modernize this sport, where you don't have to really mess with the sport as much as you can do things around and within the sport to make it more watchable, to make it more appeasing, to make it funner for people to want to tune in. Hell, a lot of people will tune in just for a whole bunch of nice ass theatrics. That's just how this shit work out. You put that Griffey, hey dad, you want to play catch? That shit is fire. That's fire, my guy. I love that shit. But you could have hyped up that moment even more going into that moment. And that's why I say this, because I love baseball. Everybody should know who Jacob deGrom is. I done been a huge Max Scherzer fan my entire fucking life. Everybody don't know who Mad Max is, and that's a problem for me. Clayton Kershaw is one of my favorite pitchers to ever play the game. Outside of LA, everybody don't know who Clayton Kershaw is. Now, I do think Clayton became more publicly known or well known than these other dudes that I'm naming. Outside of baseball communities, most people know who Clayton Kershaw is. Mookie Betts, Trout. I still never get over that shit where people was like 4 out of 5 people wouldn't know who Mike Trout is if they saw his face. I'm like, God almighty. Bryce, like, it's so many. Think of all the superstars that MLB has. It would be so easy to market these dudes. So easy. I think baseball have to make an effort, though. They should get in contact with MLB to show. They should be partners. More than just working on a game and getting good content in a game. They should be working with MLB on trying to help grow the game, not just as far as like what they do on the game, but even outside the game. Like, get ideas on what they would do. Different type of events that go on in that. Baseball has some of the best hitters in the world, and yet you don't do a shit ton of baseball bat giveaways. I should be seeing baseball bat giveaways left and right with the plugs that the MLB got. I should be seeing people win different type of trips going to baseball games left and right that the MLB broadcast. I should see different type of events like the X Home Run Derby in London. Yeah, I watch shit like that because I love it when they do extra shit to try to grow the sport. This is shit that help grow the sport. You got legends of the game that still can give you so much more, even though they're not lining up to be on deck every day, or not lining out, or hitting a home run, or throwing a strike. You know what I'm saying? They still can do more for you than even just sitting down and talking about the game. Get you a group of people on ESPN that want to talk baseball, but in a fun way to help educate people on how fun baseball can be. I get that you already got all these different type of shows, but JomBoy Media has done more for baseball in the last couple years than any of these shows that's on actual networks, because JomBoy Media's breakdowns bring fun to baseball. I can't tell you how many people I done seen tell JomBoy in comments and shit that he brought them back to baseball, or he got them into baseball because of his breakdowns. Fun shit like that is how you get into baseball. JomBoy helped me get back into baseball, and I'm a baseball fan. And I was like, yo, this dude JomBoy I love these breakdowns. Like, it made me want to get back into baseball more. And so baseball JomBoy is a dude who you could call up and be like, yo, we want you to help us promote these games, these moments, make yada 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 feel bigger. have different type of events. Like, you got so many people in baseball that I feel like want to make it better, but MLB have to, as a corporation or whatever you want to call it, reach out to them and be like, yo, let's make baseball great again. Make America trap again. Make baseball great again. Make baseball fun again. I promise you. You get Nickelodeon to do baseball. Could you imagine the different type of effects of a home run that Nickelodeon could do? You have to find different ways to make this sport fun again. I love the Nike what you call them, the home jersey, what they call them, the Nike, how did I forget the name of these fucking jerseys? The dope ass Nike jerseys that teams have in the MLB. I love that shit. Keep doing stuff like that. That's how you also help grow your game. People love jerseys. Like, it's so many different ways that I think they could have made this game bigger, the All-Star game bigger, and just the sport bigger in general. I want to see baseball and basketball and football all be great at the same time, because that means we'll never have a break within the year. Sports will always be going on, and we'll always be enjoying ourselves. And if sports is going great and this is one of my biggest things. Just because the team you cheer for sucks and you can't root for them, doesn't mean we shouldn't be trying to still find a way to get you involved in watching and wanting to root for other teams. Like, that should be the goal of the MLB. Like, just because the Cubs might not be good right now, we got to find a way to make Cub fans want to still watch this game and watch other games. And it's ways to do that. Look at why other people watch other NFL games. Because they love other players from other teams. It's not hard. Why you think players will watch all different type of NBA games? You never hear that in baseball, really. Unless you got like the JomBoys and whatnot. Like the Chris Roses, the Trevor Plouffe, the Jakes. Like all those different type of dudes who try to bring fun back to baseball while also educating and breaking down all the different type of baseball YouTube channels, whether it be Fuzzy or Shelfie. Had to give out the Philly fan brethren Shelfie the shout out. Kevin G.O.D. What's this last dude? I don't want to forget him. I don't want to forget you, my boy. I don't want to forget you. But I'm blanking on your name, right? Cougs. All these different type of dudes. It's one more, and I don't want to forget my name. Oshev, my man. And Oshev, that sexy motherfucker Oshev. Like, you got so many different guys trying to help build the sport. Embrace that. These dudes, and for one, can we stop worrying about people cursing, bro? We're not trying to make it PG. We trying to make it fun. Like, come on, I just saw a clip of a little girl giving 2 middle fingers to Carlos Correa tonight. Like, stop it. We don't care about that PG shit. We want this to be fun again. Now, I'm not saying go wild, but what we're trying to do is make baseball fun again. We want as many eyes on baseball as humanly possible, but not just watching their own team. Stadiums would be packed if people knew they was about to be in for a fucking experience. I don't think it have as much to do with the team. Yeah, sure, it helps if the team play better, but I done seen football stadiums packed out with bad teams. It's the experience. They know about team. They show up to see. Why you think so many people in the NBA show up to see LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Shaq, Michael Jordan? Players on other teams they came to see perform because of how they grow the sport. Fans of other teams are fans of those teams similarly. They live vicariously through the players that they love on those other teams, if that makes sense. We just love other players. That's how you grow the sport. So now a Bulls fan is not in the barbershop and he can only have a conversation about the Bulls. Because of how the sport has grown, he can sit in the barbershop and have a conversation not just about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, but he can go over and talk about the Pelicans and Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. He can go over and talk about the Sacramento Kings with Tyler Halliburton and my man, what's my man? I'm blanking on my man. The point guard, I'm blanking on my man's name, and it's not gonna come to me. This one ain't gonna come to me, but if it do, DeAndre Fox. Look at that. He can look at the Phoenix Suns and look at DeAndre Ayton. It's so many different things. Like, that's what baseball got to figure out. I can have so many conversations with baseball fans of one team, and they couldn't tell me about all these other things going on with other teams. It could just be guesses and hypotheticals because they don't watch those other teams. But they're not inclined to watch those other teams because you've given them no reason to want to watch those other teams. Hell, they might not even know nobody on that other team except for the best player, and the only reason they know him is because of the name alone. And they're a baseball fan. Baseball got to figure out how to make this sport not even just bigger, funner. And I think one way you do it is by connecting with MLB The Show, connecting with JomBoy Media, connecting with these different multitude of streamers like a Oshev and like a Shelfie, connecting with all these other type of like different type of marketing strategies. Use Twitter to your advantage, bro. You should be having people post damn near 50 plus type tweets a night. That's fun type interactive tweets to get the community involved. Your history. Jackie Robinson week should be a celebration of Jackie Robinson. It shouldn't just be people wearing 42. It should feel like an actual celebration of the great Jackie Robinson. I want to see it, like, it should feel like fucking a party in every stadium. We not mourning Jackie, we celebrating him. So let's stop acting like we mourning his, and let's celebrate him throughout those weeks. Let's celebrate the Mickey Mantles. Let's celebrate Babe Ruth. Let's celebrate the Aaron Hanks. Let's celebrate the Barry Bonds. Not just in the Dodger Stadium or in the stadium of these players, but in stadiums everywhere. Make these history marks events to grow your sport, to make people want to watch your sport. Have ESPN have a show where you can get together some youthful baseball fans who might not be as knowledgeable as the older heads. But I done seen dudes like Ricky Battalica be able to talk to younger dudes and have great conversations about baseball. Have a David Ortiz on there who is as knowledgeable as anybody at baseball, talking to some younger dudes, having fun segments like NBA Today on or The Jump was, or NFL Live is on these different type of networks. Like the ways of having these older folks sit down and break down the game after that's cool, and you can still do that, but that's not growing your sport. And it's actually people who would like to sit down and have an after show where they talk about all the different type of things that's going on in baseball today or this week, and it's in a fun environment. Take that cost of putting on something during the day. JomBoy Media is on the internet. Find a way to get these motherfuckers on TV during good spots so that people can see this, so it can be fun. That should be a thing. When we can get a show on TV that's in a prime position, it need to be fun. We need to emphasize the fun side of baseball. Get the fun superstars to come on the show like the NBA get their stars to come on these shows. People should be sitting down trying to have conversations with a Fernando Tatis Jr., a Mookie Betts, a Ronald Acuna Jr., the Jazz Chisholm. These are fun players that people want to talk to, people want to get to know, people want to see more of. You should be overexposing them, not underexposing them. And if you did all those different type of things, plus, it would make this sport in a game like this feel so much better, rather than just a game with a crazy name about them playing in a cornfield, basically a blip on the schedule. And that's just my thoughts on, the Field of Dreams game. But with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Listen, as long as we know that we trying every day to become a better person, to be a better person, then we're going to be alright, man. Alright? I fuck with y'all. Love you. Saint out.
Hey, right out. Got my niggas in the bag blowing white out. We gon' bump this shit real deep into the night out. Keep it 199, just ain't my style. Sing the time, staring out the window of the night route. They never ever understood for the most part. Hey, wonder how them niggas treated Mozart. Hey, did they try to put him on the Zoloft? Oh nah, I was penalized for being too alive. 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 I was